Welcome to another new video of interesting math problem on our channel Math Solutions for You. Please do like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Which of the following sums is the greatest? For option A, we have the sum of the reciprocal of square roots of even numbers starting with 2 and going all the way through 2020. For option B, we have the sum of reciprocals of products of two consecutive integers, and these start with 1 by 2 multiplied by 3, so it's 1 over 2 multiplied by 3 the denominator, then 1 over 4 multiplied by 5 in the denominator, and so on, all the way through 1 over 2020 multiplied by 2021. So the option C is simply the sum of the reciprocals of all the even numbers starting with 2 through 2020. Option D is basically a geometric series where we start with 1 over 2 and then we have 1 over 2 square, 1 over 2 cube, and all the way through 1 over 2 to the power 10. And option E, lastly, is the difference between square roots of successive integers starting with root 2 minus root 1, then root 4 minus root 3, and all the way through root over 2020 minus root over 2019. So this problem may look formidable because these sums individually, they are not trivial to find because we have quite a few number of terms and it will take a while to actually calculate these. So if we actually look at the number of terms in each of the series, we have a total of 2020 divided by 2, which comes to 1010 or 1010. So that's the number of terms. It's a large number of terms, and the trick to solving this quickly is whether we can spot just by looking at the individual terms which series is going to end up with a higher sum. And for some of you it may be obvious, but I just want to describe a more systematic way of getting there. So for that, let's represent the nth term of each series by Tn. So what's the nth term of the series in option A? Well, that's simply 1 by root over 2n. That's very simple, right? What about option B? Well, option B, the nth term will be 1 by 2 to the power n, 1 by 2n multiplied by 2n plus 1. And now if we just compare the denominators, right? And n here being an integer, root 2n, that's the denominator of the first one, right, should be lesser than the denominator of the second one, which is 2n multiplied by 2n plus 1. That's very, very evident, right? So obviously, since the denominator of the first one is lesser, the term itself for the first series, the nth term itself will be in general greater in value than the nth term of the second series, right? So of these two, it's clear that the series A will have a greater sum because in general its nth term is greater than the nth term of the series B. And this we find by just comparing which denominator is lower in value. Well, what about the sum given in option C? So what's the nth term there? The nth term is simply 1 by 2 to the power 1 by 2n. And now if we compare the nth term in option C to the nth term in option A, which denominator is greater? Well, or rather, which denominator is smaller? So obviously for integer values, it's likely that root 2n is going to be smaller in value than 2n, right? When you take a square root of a integer number, usually the number diminishes in value. So the denominator of the nth term of the first option, option A, seems to be lower in value than the denominator in the nth term of option C. So from this we can conclude that even comparing between options C and option A will have a greater sum because in general its nth term is greater in value than the nth term in option C. So what about option D? The nth term is in option D. Well, that's pretty obvious that it's even lower in value because in the denominator now you have 2 to the power n, and 2 to the power n, of course, that increases in value, and it increases way faster because of the exponent than anything else we have so far. So clearly option D, nth term, is of lower value because the denominator is higher, so that diminishes the value of the term. So option D, so comparing among option A and option D, option A still has a bigger nth term, so it's likely going to have a bigger sum. So far, comparing all the options from A through D, option A is the one that seems the most likely to have a bigger sum because its nth term in general is greater than the nth terms of all the options from B through D. Now we come to option E. So we are left with comparing between option A and option E. So what's the nth term in option E? Well, it's simply root over 2n minus root over 2n minus 1. Now, for easier comparison, we want to express this as a reciprocal, and the easy way to do this is if we multiply and divide by the conjugate, and the conjugate of these will be root over 2n plus root over 2n minus 1. So we multiply and divide by the conjugate. The numerator becomes 1 because 2n minus 1 is simply 1, right? And then in the denominator, we are left with root over 2n plus root over 2n minus 1. And now, since we have expressed this as a reciprocal, 1 over, something, so we can compare the denominators across these two terms in option E and option A. So for option A, the nth term is 1 over root over 2n. For option E, the nth term is 1 over root 2n plus root over 2n minus 1. And it's easy to see that in option E, the denominator will be greater than the denominator in option A. So we can conclude from this that in general, the nth term in option A is going to be of greater value than the nth term in option E. So it turns out that comparing to all the options from B through E, the nth term in option A is greater in value, is the greatest in value, right? So it's most likely that its sum will be also of the greatest value. So in this way, indirectly, even without actually evaluating what those individual sums will be, we can conclude that the sum in option A is going to be the greatest because its nth term, or rather its nth term, has got the least value of the denominator, especially when we compare them with the same numerator. So we have basically reduced all the terms, we expressed all the terms as 1 by some quantity, and that quantity in the denominator is the least for the term in option A, which makes that the term itself, the value of the term itself, the highest. So that's why the sum in option A is going to be the greatest.